pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
All right, savvy investors out there. Today we're going to cover why didn't you hire a bookkeeper? And as I grow in my business, I realize how important it is to hire an accountant and to hire a bookkeeper. And you may not have a property at this time, or think you do, or you think you don't, or you're going to have one, or whatever you think it may be. Get your financials in order now. You will not go through the pain and heartache that where I am today in not doing the stuff on the front end. All right, but before we get started in what you should do and what you shouldn't do, let me kind of give you a snapshot of how I got to where I am and why I'm so amped up on hiring a bookkeeper, an accountant, or both, or separate, or a firm, or whatever whatever the case may be in your world. All right, so think of it like this: hustling all day to make money, and then you throw it out the window to hire a bookkeeper. Dealing with an accountant, it is not like going to the dentist, okay, where you got to get drilled. Think of it like this: going to for example, instead of going to the dentist, what do? You brush your teeth. That's how I look at it. If you don't brush your teeth, you're going to have rotted teeth, okay? If you don't do your books, you're going to have rotted books. They're not going to be accurate. You're going to make bad financial decisions, and it's not going to go well, and you're not going to be able to borrow money, and so on and so forth. Even if you just bought your first property or you got 10 properties, start thinking about this now and start implementing it. So here's my short little endeavor with accountants and bookkeepers and so forth. First of all, I started out as a self-employed student per se. I really didn't care about accounting or taxes, and I really don't to this day, but I realize how critical it is that I need to, and I can't run from it. So for a long time, since I was DJing for many years, I really didn't do my taxes. I was a cash-based business, and I got 10 years behind. That's right, I'm confessing it right now, that I was 10 years and I didn't file. What an idiot. Here's the deal: I was uneducated. I didn't know any better. It was cash. I wasn't making any money. I was broke like a joke. And one day I woke up and I realized I need to get professional. I need to get legal. And it just grew on me all the time. I was just struggling. Like, I felt insecure. I didn't do my taxes. I'm a terrible citizen. And, I'm going to go to hell. I mean, seriously, and I know there's some people out there. I have talked to some of you investors where you're, this is an uncomfortable subject, and I'm just going to get it out right now, right here. 2016, baby, you're going to the next level, okay? And the only way you're going to go to the next level, you got to confess what you've done and move forward and forget about the past. So one day I was sitting in a RIA. An accountant was speaking that day, and I'm trying to get an accountant on the radio show, so hold your horses. We're going to have an accountant, and I'm going to blast them for us. Why do you do this? Why you don't do that? And I met with my accountant yesterday, and it was a learning experience every time I go. And now I'm motivated. I want to be the very best, and I want to master finance. But let's just get to the story here. So I went to the RIA, and a guy was speaking, and this is a long, long time ago, 10, 15 years ago. I can't remember the exact time. And he was an amazing person. And I don't want to get into names because I'm going to say some stuff. So I just want to he held my hand, and he was talking about 1031 exchange. And I was like, what is a 1031? And he was explaining the tax advantages about 1031. And this accountant was an enrolled agent. And a little history about me: my mom worked for the IRS. My mom's job was to go after small entrepreneurs because they didn't pay their taxes and they were sheltering money and they're doing some sketchy stuff. And my mom would call me from Oakland, California: Steven, did you do your taxes? And I'm like, I don't need to do my tax. And for 10 years, I struggled with that, and I hid from my mom, and she would call me out all the time. And I finally said, I need help. I need to hire someone to do my taxes. I'm behind. And I wanted to be professional. I wanted to get for real in this deal. And I got, by the grace, I met this guy, and I had the gumption. And this is what this podcast is: get the balls to pick up the phone and make a call to someone. Call me and I'll tell you what to do. Call a bookkeeper, call an accountant, and get the ball rolling. Well, I called this guy and he held my hand and he went back and filed 10 years of taxes for me, which he's like, Stephen, you're okay. You don't have that many penalties. It wasn't this big of a problem. And the great thing about this accountant, he was an enrolled agent, which my mom beat me up. You got to find an enrolled agent. And by the grace, this guy was an enrolled agent. And that's just someone that's certified through the IRS, that has taken a few more classes and is a little bit more committed to tax preparation. And, so I was in good hands. And he was a power of attorney. I signed over power of attorney, and he called the IRS for me and said, hey, I got this guy. And he just said, you're fine. There's nothing wrong. And just take care of this and declare this information. And then, it was the greatest thing. So for 10 years, I struggled. And I was fearful, and I was inadequate, and I was uneducated, and I knew how to make money, and I knew how to buy houses, but I didn't do my taxes properly. And so I got that out of the way, yes. And that accountant that he got me, he was amazing. And the sad thing is that he got sick. He had to have surgery, and it was a bad deal. And I was actually nervous. I thought I was going to roll to the end of my grave with this accountant. I loved him. He spent so much time with me. He held my hand. He called the IRS for me. He was so savvy, and it was awesome. Then I had to wake up and say, this cat may die one day, and I may be in a pickle. And so I started thinking about it. And what really happened at this point in time is I was growing my business. I was all legit, and I got one of my first loans with a bank. And then I started turning in financials and, creating spreadsheets of what my assets and liabilities and what's my net worth. And I came across a female accountant, which she was bar none the bomb. She took me to the next level. They were her husband was a retired banker, and she was a CPA for a large firm, and she did not a large firm, but for a large company. She was the only main accountant, and that was her main customer. And she had a few small entrepreneurs on the side, and she had some big entrepreneurs that I admire. And I was just so thankful that I got my hands on this person, and they were willing to do my accounting, and I grew with them. They helped me get to the next level, able to borrow millions of dollars with my finances. And I know that I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for that lady accountant. She got me to the level where I was, and it all thrusted from the bank smashed me. I tried to buy a commercial property, and they're like, your financials are a disaster. And that's where I forced me to go to hire her. And that's, and that's how I found her. And it's a push. So great. Fast forward now, a couple of years in, and we're just killing it, buying properties and, got in the accounting, trying to pay leases, taxes, being strategic about it, when to do it, how to do it. And then I outgrew her, and she was busy with a full-time job. And she's like, look, I can't handle you anymore. You got too many transactions. You got 6 bank accounts, and you're moving money like crazy. And you need a bookkeeper. And then maybe I can do your taxes. And I was like, my whole world came crushing down. And I was like, wow, I love this gal. She brought me out of the Mick and Meyer to the level where I'm a real estate investor with banks, and I can borrow money conveniently, easily, and build my net worth. And she's like, you got to find someone else. Now, what do you do? Where do you go from here? And I don't know if you're on the first step of this train or the last step, or you're happy with your accountant. Okay. Well, I got some referrals from some friends, and I got a hold of this accountant, and, I didn't really connect with this person, and it's not a negative thing. Accountants are not flamboyant, or aggressive in nature. They're accountants. And I had expectations, you're doing taxes for this investor, and that investor is 10 times bigger than me, and I want to be that investor. And he was a super smart guy, but the interaction and the communication was really frustrating to me, and it didn't it didn't jive. Yes, I didn't pay taxes, but I didn't understand why. I'm not saying that you shouldn't pay taxes, but I want to know what's the strategy here, where we're going with this. We're going to buy this apartment building and I'm going to sell it. What's going to happen? What's my tax burden? And I just didn't get that level of service. Maybe I didn't communicate properly and say, hey, or was it my responsibility to call him once a week or in transactions? Only thing I knew that he was doing my taxes. And I just need to send him my HUDs of the purchase of the properties that I was buying and selling and moving forward. And of course have, expenses and, I have shoebox and so I had a good time, but now I'm at a level where that's not good enough. I need to do quarterly taxes. I need reports. I have borrowed enough money where the banks are, kind of shaking in their britches like, hey, is this guy, what's his LTV? What's his ratios? What's a ratio? Like ratio to income to debt ratio or ratio per property? What's your rent? And it just gets complicated. And things didn't work out there, and it was always a frustration. And so I had to move again. And man, I had to move again, and it was, you understand. So I had the accountant that saved me, brought me from the depths, to an accountant that pushed me to the next, then to an accountant that was just kind of like, okay, we're just going to do it. And then I have to find another accountant. And when you have a conversation with another real estate investor and you got some that are, I'm making a killing, but I'm not paying taxes. You're like, I want that guy. Or you talk to an accountant, I'm talking to a real estate investor and he's like paying $900,000 in taxes. You're like, wow, I got problems. This guy's got problems. So I landed on this accountant and I'm still skeptical. Not that he's not a great person. I believe that his passion for what he's doing, that's a good sign. You need to know that. Why are they doing what they're doing? Am I just another number? Or are they really trying to help me not overpay what's not due to the IRS? And since I've interacted with this accountant and bookkeeper all in one type of service, I've been pretty happy. I've learned a tremendous amount that I need better financials. And I need to present better financials to them. And, they're trusting me to deliver the right information. So I'm just leaving you with this, that you've got to get a bookkeeper. And here, this is where I went wrong. I didn't have all the right data. And so I had to go back. This is twice. I had to basically redo all of my transactions, which is thousands of material and purchases and you name it. All of that has to be spilled back out, inputted into QuickBooks to get and all of this could have been prevented if I had a proper accountant that knew about real estate and classified chart of accounts and understand the whole thing. Okay. Don't go through the hell and the outrageous amount of money that I had to pay to correct my accounting, my bookkeeping, if I would have just did it right 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and I could have built on proper finances and I could have forecasted a better plan. And now I feel like I'm spending so much time correcting where I've went wrong. Now, of course, you as an investor, owner, entrepreneur, you are responsible. You're the one that signs the dotted line. Don't play dumb to this, that you're going to address this when you get to $1 million, or you're going to address this when you get 3 properties. You need to address this now. If you have to buy the $10 version of Quicken, get your finances, or log on to mint.com, get the ball rolling. Now, here's the deal. How did I do it? What's my structure now? Well, my structure now is get a bookkeeper. You can get a bookkeeper for $50 a month up to, depending on your size. And some people do it by transaction. Whatever you do from this podcast, stop the freaking radio and call some investors. Who do you use? And start interviewing bookkeepers now and start getting on the ball. If you want to be real super savvy, you can do bookkeeping through a virtual assistant, okay? Online, but that's a little advanced. Let me just get the juice down. What are chart of accounts? What is that? Here's another thing that I learned. you got to move you're going to grow, right? And accountants, they're humans. They may move, they may pass away. So you've got to have a system in place. Create a system of your receipts. Some people use Shoebox. Some people scan them. Some use Evernote. Create a system for managing the receipts. Okay. I write every address on the receipt. What did I do it for? Is this a repair? Is this a capital improvement? Those are two things that you really need to know. Here, capital improvement or a repair. Okay. That's another episode. Here's another thing that you need to do. Here's some magic words for you out there. I'm going to get a little juicy. Earned income credit. Okay. What is that? If you don't know what that is, Google that up right now. Find out what earned income credit is. And it could help you propel your business. Okay. It's set up to help you grow your business as an entrepreneur. And as an entrepreneur, it could be Mary Kay. You might want to use the earned income credit for your direct marketing business. If you're in real estate and it's your part-time thing, you better use earned income credit. Get some deductions, get some money back so you can get that money and go buy another asset and make more money. Here's something that I really, really learned. And I know this is humbling to say that there's 3 types of accounting. Managerial. Okay. What's financial accounting and tax accounting? What? Is that illegal? 3 types of books? What an idiot that I am. I'm so uneducated. It's just unfathomable that I even got this far in what I'm doing, because I'm an entrepreneur and I know how to make money, right? I just don't know how to put it in a machine to make it spit out the numbers that I need or what I want. So let's basic real quick. And if you really want to learn this, go to lynda.com, lynda.com, pay the $25 membership fee for 1 month and watch all the accounting videos, and you'll be good to go. And then you can go to an accounting meeting or look at a financial statement and you'll know what's going down. But real quick, this is the fast and furious. Managerial accounting is your books for you. That's everything all in one place. You know what's going down. Okay. Managerial. That's what you're working from. Then you convert that same information into financial accounting. And that usually is what you submit to banks, where you're at, profit and loss sheets. Okay. And this is what you want to do. You even want to turn this into to raise private funding. Okay. But usually you do financial accounting for your banker. And then finally, tax accounting. It's all the same information. It's just how you report it to who. The banker really doesn't care, that you're spending $3,000 a year or $100,000 a year in hiring a heat and air company, right? But it was interesting. I walked into my accounting, the end of the year review, and we're kind of going where we're going to put stuff, how we're going to do it, so on and so forth. How many, what's my tax burden? And man, you spent a lot of money at this heat and air place. And I'm like, yeah, I know I do. And then he's like, you spent a lot of money on this carpet place. And so if you really managerial accounting, you really learn it, not just to do accounting or hire a bookkeeper to do your taxes. That's what I'm trying to get across here. Don't just do accounting so you can pay your taxes. Do accounting so you can learn and grow within your business. Now I know that I spend $40,000 a year on carpet. I may need to rethink that. Maybe I should apply that money somewhere else. Now, if you're listening and you're at Carpet Depot, hold on, wait a minute. I still put carpet in bedrooms. All right. But if I had the data, I can maybe negotiate. Hey, last year, 2015, I spent $40,000 on carpet. Can I get a $40,000 repeat customer discount? Okay. But that's a managerial, that's the point of numbers. Numbers help you calculate for decisions. They're not just for taxes. So remember that. Come on, work with me, clap, do something. Come on. Email me, text me, let me know that this is helping you. I wish someone would slap me in the face on this situation and say, look, fat boy, get out there, hire a bookkeeper. And, I've got some wonderful friends around me that are holding my hand as I'm trying to grow this empire into a real managing hedge fund of sorts of assets and holding portfolios, okay, and leveraging, and just there's so much more to the game. It's not just for taxes. Real value managerial accounting just will help you in the future. If you practice these things now, You will not go through the hell that I'm going through. You'll make better decisions. It won't be emotional, and it will be logical. And that's what you need to do. And that's it for today. Don't be dumb. Get a bookkeeper. Learn QuickBooks. Watch the videos. Text me, call me, whatever you want to do. Anyway, my financial wizard guy that helps me break the numbers down all the time is going to be at the Investor Weekend coming up in March 25th, 26th. It's Greg Meach. He is my numbers wizard, man. It's so cool. I'll even call him, dude, I'm thinking about buying this printer because of this. And there's a thing called ROI. Why are you doing it? And so come visit, learn, let's grow together. If this has impacted you in any way, let me know. I would love to know where you're at and how I can help you, or maybe some advice, or if you've been down this road. I talked to an investor one time that had, owed the IRS like $30,000 or $40,000. Well, first of all, if you're in real estate, there's a thing called depreciation, earned income credit. Don't forget that one. Depreciation. Yeah. I mean, there's repairs. I mean, it's kind of baffling to know that you're paying that much in taxes. And he was broken about the deal. And I was like, bro, just call the IRS. Yep. Or get a power of attorney with a enrolled agent and negotiate and get that burden, pay it off, and move on. It's not the end of the world. Okay. So wherever you're at in the chain of taxes, accounting, 2016, let it be the best year for you, and start off on the right foot. Go hire a bookkeeper. Do it right the first time, and don't be like me. Anyway, I'm the Savvy Landlord. My name is Steven Van Kellenberg. If you like this show, great, pass it on. But whatever you do, think about it. Go buy assets.
Investor Weekend is not far off, with over 10 information sessions to increase your portfolio. Log on to www.investorweekend.com. Whether you are a seasoned investor or never purchased a property before, you don't want to miss the Investor Weekend. Join us for a powerful, knowledge-packed weekend with over 10 informational sessions that are bound to enlarge your real estate investments. You will hear from the best national and local real estate investors that will share practical and relevant experiences with you, the investor. There will be several networking sessions to connect with other like-minded people for potential funding, partnerships, and yes, hot deals. Go to www.investorweekend.com. Did you know we meet once a month for the Landlord Lunch Meeting? The third Wednesday of every month. Go to landlordlunch.com.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook, and always be buying assets.